Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are here for the last match of Super Rugby Pacific Round 9, the last game before we get to see New Zealand take on Australia in the Trans-Tasman part of Super Rugby. I hope you guys are all doing well. The Western Force, they'll be taking on the Waratahs for this game. It should be a very exciting one, but this is not the last game that we are covering off the night. Of course, we have got Munster versus the Exeter Chiefs. That is going to be taking place at 2 a.m. And then we have got about 14 games of the Sevens that we are going to be covering on the channel as well. But we have got Hammerbow and the chat, and also Paddy Wigan. Hope you guys are both doing well, and hope you are excited for this matchup between the two sides. We will look through, first of all, at the Western Force, who are the home side for this game at HBF Park. Actually, a nice afternoon game for them currently here as it is taking place in Perth. But Harry Lloyd, Feliti Kaitu, and Santiago Medrano will be the front row. Jeremy Thrush and Ryan McCauley there as the locks, and then Fergus Lee Warner, Kane Kateka, and Bernard Stander going to be there at number 8. Ian Pryor and Risoa. What's his first name? Risoa? No. Rees-Jean Pasatoa. I think I've always just called him Pasatoa. To be honest, I didn't even know that was his first name. But Bailey Quinzel, Kyle Goldwyn, Manasa Mataeli, Tony Pulu, and then Jake Strawn slotting in there at number 15 for this game for the home side. The Western Force, we have got their gutter for the Highlanders. And there's Shane. Yeah, it was an extremely close game. That last moment of the game, could it have gone the other way? Definitely could have with that shot from Geordie Barrett. And I was like, go Waratahs, go, says Joseph there. But this is the side for the Waratahs that they have gone with. Angus Bell, Dave Parecki, and Harry Johnson-Holmes. They are going to be the front row. Then Jed Holloway and Hugh Sinclair linking up as the locks. Charlie Gamble, this man has worked his way into the side. He wasn't initially going to be there, but because of his form with Michael Hooper returning, they couldn't leave him out. So he is going to be slotting in at 6. Michael Hooper at 7. And then Will Harris also scoring a lot of tries recently. He is going to be there at number 8. Bullet commentator, as this is Joseph. Welcome in, mate. And I hope you are excited for the Sevens a little bit later on tonight. Should be very exciting. Last thanks, lads. Should do gameplays of the Super Rounds that's coming up this weekend, says Hammerbow. Hopefully we can get quite a few of those games done throughout the week. We might have to take priority of a couple of them just so that we can guarantee that they get done. But we will try our best to get as many of those out as we can. And also Petty Wagner said, yes, the Canes. And alongside that, the back line here, Jake Gordon, number 19, Edmund, there at 10. Then it will be Foketi and Parisi linking up as the midfield. Mark Nawakwanitawasi out there on the right wing. Dylan Pitch out on the other. And then it will be Alex Newsom slotting in at number 15. Sad Zoo tonight. It certainly was. Sadly, not quite the victory that the Highlanders would have been after heading into those games up against the Australians. But these are the benches, Reddy, Abra, and Holmes as the front row replacements for the Western Force. Then it is Pugh and also Ollie Callan. Then McDonald, Jake McIntyre, and Richard Kahu, the experienced veteran. And alongside him in the number 23 jersey for the Waratahs, another experienced veteran in the form of Jamie Roberts. Alongside them, though, they've got Vailanu, Faulkner, Hulls, Jeff Cridge, Warren, Vosayako. Then also it will be Jack Grant, Will Harrison, and then Jamie Roberts, like I mentioned a little bit earlier on. But this game's probably about 2 minutes away from getting underway. The game on Saturday is always a little bit later. And Brumbies versus Highlanders next Sunday, it's going to be a great game. That is for sure. And I'm looking forward to seeing what these two sides can do, not just throughout the rest of the competition, but definitely next week, because the Western Force, they have got the opposition in Moana Pacifica. I think that match is going to be quite an interesting one. See how it goes. And then the Waratahs, in their next matchup, they are actually going to be having the Chiefs. And these two sides are actually both playing on the Friday night. So 2 games on Friday night, 2 games on Saturday night, and then 2 games on the Sunday, all taking place from Amy Park in Melbourne. Should be very exciting. And not this again. And there, as I said, Paddy Wagon. Well, that one, I assume it is the whole game starting later than it's supposed to, maybe, because, of course, we have got the game at 2 a.m. taking place between Munster and the Exeter Chiefs. That will be a very exciting one, followed by the first game of the Sevens we are covering is Samoa taking on Japan, I want to say that it is. Or it might not be. I think New Zealand have Japan first. And excited for tomorrow because I'm doing lots of fun and Easter in there, says LJ. So, yeah, I think me and George, we've got a couple plans. And chat is fixed. And there, as well, says Betty, okay. So was the Betty, and also what time are the New Zealand games. So all of those ones that are taking place, I believe it's always, other than the Sunday, I'll quickly get the times up because I know that earlier on, 7:05 and then 9:35, I think it is, for the first night. And then alongside that, the 2 games on Sunday are afternoon games rather than being nighttime ones. But I'll just make sure I have the exact times. But I believe they are the normal times that we've seen for the last couple rounds in terms of a 7:05 game, then a 9:45 or 9:35 game. Currently, it is pre-match in the Super Rugby fixture, they are saying. That is good news. So it is actually 8 p.m. for that Friday night game, sorry. Oh, what time is the 7th? Sorry, okay. So it is going to be at 4 a.m. is the first game that starts, but New Zealand are not a part of that one. But New Zealand's first game, I believe, is in about 7 hours' time. I'll just get up that time. So New Zealand versus Japan has taken place at 5:06 a.m. That is their first game of the Sevens. And then also in Pool B, it will be Samoa versus Wales at 4:44. Then the next game for New Zealand is taking place at 8:17, New Zealand versus Wales. So that might be a good one to catch up with if you are ending up sleeping throughout the night, just because it's kind of the normal thing to do. I wouldn't know too much about that, though, unfortunately. And then the last game for New Zealand, 11:28 for their game up against Samoa. So that is one that if you really want to see an awesome fixture, that is going to be it. And he's playing home in this game. It is at HBF Park in Perth. So the Western Force, they have got themselves a home field advantage for this game. But no matter who is home and away for next week, everything's taking place from Melbourne. And also, how do you think Samoa Sevens are going so far? Absolutely brilliantly. They have come from nowhere, like 2 years off or whatever it is. They've come back and they look the real deal. They look like real contenders for a chance of making it through to not just the semi-finals, but also the finals as well. Hopefully they do have a successful run and they will have to make sure that they beat Wales and they beat Japan, and then they will be through to the quarterfinals. And in those quarterfinals, I'm just going to have a quick look. The quarterfinals for the men's, they would be looking at, they'd have to take on either the best of Pool C or the second best of Pool C. And currently for Pool C, you're looking at the sides as follows: Spain, Canada, Australia, South Africa. So they're probably either playing Australia or South Africa in their quarterfinal if Samoa do win that game up against Wales. So that will be what they are aiming for. And played well on last weekend, Sevens. They did indeed. They did very nicely. And also the blue team will win this game, says Petty, to an extent, I guess you could say. Although, depends. Are you saying the more blue team or the less blue team? Because I know that the Waratahs in the away kit for this one wearing the white, but they've still got their blue collar. So which blue team do you think will score first, Paddy? It's probably a bigger question. I know that the Waratahs come into this game as favourites to be able to win at HBF Park, which is huge because normally HBF Park is one of those grounds that it's extremely hard to win at when you're away from home. But it just seems like in this situation, might end up working out not too badly. But now almost underway. 9:50 surely is the latest that they will get underway for this matchup. But it's always late in Australia. I don't know why it is, but it always seems to be the Saturday game. It's as if they don't realize that 9:45 is when people think the kickoff is, you know. But currently they are just showing Kyle Goldwyn for the Western Force, Jake Gordon for the Waratahs. I think the two that I've got is Jeremy Thrush and Michael Hooper. Those two are going to be good. Our blue team will score first at a time in the game. Can't argue with that. But currently it looks like a pretty good crowd at HBF Park. 21 degrees Celsius. Forecast is clear and just a little bit of a southwest breeze sitting around 20 kilometers per hour. But the starting lineup for the Waratahs, Bell, Parecki, and Johnson Holmes as the front row, I should say, Holloway and Sinclair and then Gamble, Hooper, and Harris will be the next three players that they have got. Is their Heineken Cup rugby tonight as well? There is. So the first game of the Heineken Champions Cup is actually going to be Exeter Chiefs. They will be taking on, one moment, I'm just going to find it. They are going to be, no, it's not the first game. There is Harlequins versus Montpellier, and that is taking place at 11:30 p.m. New Zealand time. Then at 2 a.m. it's La Rochelle and Bordeaux, and also Munster Exeter, followed by Leicester versus Clermont at 4:30, and then Ulster versus Toulouse will be the last game of that day. And then after that, we have got another game at 2:30, and that is tomorrow night, and that will be Racing 92. Stefan, I'd say it's nice to see the Force finally play at home in Perth, not in Australia. In there as well, Sebastian. I feel like there's going to be so many people who don't understand that reference, isn't there? But I feel like that's an OG one, as they say. Is OG, does that stand for older generation? No, I don't know what it actually stands for in the end. But Lloyd, Reddy, and Madrano as the front row for the Western Force. Lee Warner and Macaulay. Then Anstey, Koteka, and Stunda going to be there at number 8. The big South African. We'll be looking forward to getting down the wing possibly in this game. They like to set him up out there. Same with Kane Katika. Seems to be another option that they do quite like to force wide, see whether or not they can create that opportunity. And also on the outside, Manasa Mataele or Ralston going to be starting at number 14. Okay, Richard Kahui at 12. So no Bailey Quinzel for this one in the midfield. And also Tony Pulu no longer out on the wing. Instead, it is going to be Ralston. So just looking at these late changes, Lacey going to be off the bench for them as well. So a couple big changes that they have had to make. OG stands for Original Gangster. But old generation counts as well, I would say. And then also I'm going to try and stay up for the 7 session. Although if you have just had a positive test, it might be best to rest just a little bit throughout those ones as well. But just depending on how you go, because you don't want to overwork yourself in the early stages, or else you will be really feeling it tomorrow. And tomorrow there are the quarterfinals, the semi-finals, and the final will be taking place. But Michael Hooper plays his first game of Super Rugby at HBF Park since 2017. He scored a try in his first game back, Michael Hooper, and we'll be looking for another in this game up against the Western Force. Now, this was actually the only game of Super Rugby that we missed in the last time round, just because my eyes did not work and I was just pretty much sitting here like this. But this will be our first opportunity on the channel to see these two sides play off. And as I did tell the Chiefs game, as I said, Shane, at the moment, Tane Edmed, big role for him, as they have given him the start rather than Will Harrison for that number 10 jersey. This game's going to start in 3 minutes' time. It's actually going to be another 5 minutes late. I don't think they really mind. I think they're just like, we'll just do it at whatever time we want to start the game. And now the Western Force making their way out, led by Kyle Godwin, Richie Kahui back in there. 100 matches for Kyle Godwin. 76 games for the Force and 24 for the Brumbies. Let's go, boys, is what he just ended up shouting out, which I assume is a good message to really send, isn't it? You don't really want to play badly at a game at home, or else then sometimes the other side have more crowd supporters than you do, and that's when you know that you've made a mistake. And the New South Wales WARATAHs, they've got quite a few supporters, definitely with that man Michael Hooper practicing his vertical leap. Right, so Kyle Godwin running out onto the field. He ends up getting a handshake from Michael Hooper. He did make his way out there, but the referee in charge of this one, Angus Gardner, Graham Cooper, Matt Callahan, and also Kyle Burnett. They are going to be the rest of the officials in charge of this game, but we are just about to get underway, only 8 minutes late, and we are ready to go for this game between the Western Force and the Waratahs. Last game of Super Rugby before we get to see a New Zealand side take on an Australian side, and that will be the Chiefs taking on the Waratahs. It's going to be the countdown. So I guess the big question as well, and also will Sevens be back in New Zealand next year? I'm not too sure what's the reason for the delay. It's always late for Australia. For some reason, I don't know what it is, whether or not they do just schedule it for earlier, because the game on Friday night is always on time. It's the game on Saturday that they're always drifting just a little bit more behind. So I don't know what the reasoning is, but it's always like 5 to 10 minutes late. Now, a nice run forward from Andrew Reddy, actually in the starting lineup, I believe, rather than it was going to be Harry Lloyd. So quite a few late changes for both of these sides by the looks of it, mainly the Western Force. But I hope it does come back to New Zealand at some stage. I think it's going to be either Wellington or Hamilton, isn't it? If I'm not wrong, if they do end up going there, Stunder driven into touch with a great tackle from Fakiti. Walks over the top of him as well and says, thanks very much for coming. Nicely done by Fakiti. He has to make sure that he muscles up throughout this whole game, because it's not going to be easy. But Stunder not too happy, and I think he's now got a number in mind, and that number is number 12. And if Fakiti's not careful, his rib cage is going to get rearranged by that man. So I guess the big question as well that I was going to say, taking him out in the air, you're not allowed to do that, really. Straight away, he comes over, and this is going to be not too nice for Andrew Reddy. Or sorry, I actually said that he was on the field for Harry Lloyd, but he's actually on the field for Faleti Kaitu. Does the Force have any injury worries? I'd assume all of these players who are out now can't all be from injury, surely. So I'd like to think that it is possibly maybe positive cases, unfortunately, which is a bit unfortunate, definitely this close to the New Zealand versus Australia games. But Jake Gordon taken out in the air. He looked straight up and said, yep, I'll take that penalty. Thank you very much. But yeah, if I do end up getting the chance to do the Rugby Challenge games between New Zealand and Australian sides, do you guys want me to play as the New Zealand sides? Or do you want me to play as the Australian sides? Or do what I did for Super Rugby Aotearoa and actually play as a combination of playing the first half as one team and the second half as the other? Do let me know. But now nice drive forward here. Charlie Gamble be wrestled down to the ground. Very nicely done. And also new covered in Australia. And there as well, That's going to be nicely done by the Western Force to keep that ball in the rolling ball for long enough to be able to dissect that one. And I think it was Andrew Reedy actually earning, I guess, the penalty back in favour of the Western Force / scrum feed that they will now have. Charlie Gamble, he's certainly a big man. Charlie Gamble, they did say that it was a maul in the end. His knees were down, but they are saying initially it had become a maul. So that is why he was unable to get that ball out to Jake Gordon. Couple players, I think that's Santiago Marrano, just hanging on to that ball. But Charlie Gamble probably got one of the best mustaches around. Don't let him hear me say that. Because, of course, Nick White also would like to think that he has got one of the better ones around in Super Rugby. Other than those two, I can't really think of too many other players who have got big mustaches, though. Don't play games with your head. Left of the mark, left of each other is the comment from Angus Gardner. So he's having none of it when these players are trying to possibly milk a penalty in the scrum. And I know they have finally started in there, says, and it was Betty, and yes, they have, and New COVID ain't in there, says Lex Axel. Yeah. It's unfortunate, isn't it? Imagine if all of a sudden they're like, right, the New Zealand and Australia games can't take place. That's a good push from the Waratahs. They've got the penalty advantage. Charlie Gamble just knocks it on, and it is going to be the penalty in favour of the Waratahs here, though. It's a freebie straight out in front. And also, what did you think of the red card in the Highlanders game? I thought it was justified. Like, Josh Dixon, if he wraps his arm, it's a yellow. But because he didn't make any attempt to protect the other guy and literally just went for a cheap shot at his head, I think he deserved it. And he's probably going to get a 3-week ban alongside it, which I don't think too many people could complain about because it was just not smart. From about 25 metres out, Tane Edmed going to be lining up this kick. A lot of pressure on him, but Will Harrison, he has been doing a bit of the kicking in the past. But Tane Edmed, 6 from 7 so far throughout 2022 with an 85% accuracy, so not too bad for himself. He's got Michael Hooper behind him. Waiting for this one, but Tane Edmed tried to line it up, taking his time, making sure that even though it's 25 metres straight out in front, wants to make sure that it still does find its way over the posts. Nicely struck, and that will be now 3-0 in favour of the Waratahs. So they take the early lead, and this fixture, is the variant more dangerous or just spreads quicker? And there says Lex Axel, no idea. Unfortunately, I haven't really been following too much along those lines. I probably should be following a bit more of it, but because I've been pretty isolated anyway, just in my room / in the lounge, not too much has been happening around these parts. Also being from quite a small town, you don't really hear too much about it. Yeah, I agree. There's no need to tackle like that, just silly, and puts our opponents at risk. And there says Petty Wagon, and also we've got the players, both teams, says Hammer Bow. So I guess then the other question is, do I play as the New Zealand side second, or do I play as the Australian side second? The big question. I think I'd have to turn off fatigue, though, because or else then fatigue in the game is just overpowered. So if everyone could just run round flat out, I feel like that would be a good idea. Now Jake Gordon kicking it high down the field, finds touch. It's a good striker. The ball from Gordon. Okay, but it takes it out of you. Headaches are very bad. And there's us, says Shane. So yeah, I guess, do you have your eyes open at the moment, Shane, or have you just been listening to the commentary type thing with your eyes closed? I think play as Australia teams. And there's Shane, almost intercepted it is. And Mark Nawaqanitawase, he will go in and he will score the try, the first try of the match. Nicely done by Nawaqanitawase. And he does end up scoring it. And of course, he had to score the first one. So now I've got to spell his name. I would have preferred it to be Angus Bell, to be honest with you, but tis what it is. Try scorers, it was the interception one. And once again, if he doesn't catch that, that's a yellow card for a deliberate knockdown. But because he was able to catch it, Nawaqanitawase. I know that he hasn't got a U after the Q in his name, but that is going to be the first try of the match, and the Waratahs strike again and strike well. Now they have got themselves an 8-point lead, about to be 10. Irish just win I bet. And players New Zealand second, because the Aussie Kings have the advantage because they're playing in their own country as well. Mark Nawaqanitawase, that's an interesting last name. It is. It's a full-on one. Overall, and I got first try, and what time for score? And as I said, Betty, and also hi, says Amelia, welcome in. the live stream once again. Hope you are doing it well. But Mark Nawakwanitawasi doing very nicely for his side there. Being able to intercept that one out of the sky. Runs it hard. And he scores the try. And I can't watch games. Just have to sleep now and then. Oh, I can watch the games, just have to sleep now and then. And also games will still go ahead. Probably just make a bubble. No sightseeing, lads. And there it says Lex Axel. And also we got the hello again, says Betty. And I Hamish says Brandon, welcome in, mate. Currently on the 22 here for the big men in the Western Force camp. Now going short side. I haven't seen Jeremy Thrush yet. He's also got quite a good mustache normally. I'm looking around. He normally towers over everyone as well. I don't think he's starting. I saw number 4 and it didn't look like Jeremy Thrush. It's because it might not be. Right, the Waratahs get the turnover nicely done. Once again there, Harry Johnson-Holmes working hard for himself. And it is very nicely done by the Waratahs. They're keeping the pressure on. I'm in Auckland, bro. I was at the casino, lost $40. That's enough to make me cry. And there says Johnny Blaze, what were you doing it on? Was it on the slots or were you blackjacking maybe? I can imagine you being decent at blackjack, Johnny, for some reason. Or roulette. I feel like roulette, you're a very lucky fellow. So I had contact with multiple COVID patients. I still haven't got it yet. And there says Lex Axel. And I was like, Betty Wagon says, Brandon, it seems to be that some people do get it extremely easily and other people do somehow avoid it. Like, I think, who was it earlier on who was saying that they were living in the same house as someone and they just avoided it completely somehow, even though they were sleeping in the same bed? And I was like, hey, Betty Wagon says, Amelia. Now about to line this one up. And it is thrown into the middle, nicely taken there by Jed Holloway. Now Michael Hooper with a bit of a step here for the Waratahs. And they look like they have come to play at HBF Park now. And just I was doing Q Lads live. And there, as I says, Brandon. Currently now Jake Gordon going to be passing it back across to Charlie Gamble at 6 for this game. Normally prefers open side flanker, but you'd have to say he doesn't really have a preferred position at the moment. Brilliant run here. Ball on the inside for Kitty's going for Kitty. Scores. And the Waratahs strike again, and they strike quickly. And they are on fire at the moment in the early stages of this match at HBF Park. I'm going to have to add another name for Kitty. He's a lot easier to spell. So he is allowed to score many tries throughout this game. That was nicely done by Tane Ahmed. Just saw the gap. I see Richard Coe. He's actually got himself a bit of a mo at the moment now. It was nicely done over the try line. And they've been able to score again. Alex, is it nice? Headaches are bad. And then also we've got the, do you know, says Brandon, and also try my hand at blackjack. And I've come to the conclusion that it isn't for me. But the deal is females were stunning to eye up. But the deal of females are stunning. Right. You got to be careful, though, because they do that sometimes on purpose so that you forget that you're putting your money on the table. I can imagine you just sitting there going, oh, I've already lost 500, but I'll sit here for a bit longer and just put a couple more on. And I guess the GOAT, Wayne Smith, we Black Ferns new head coach, eh? And there's SX, that has gone straight over. I see that the Wallabies also possibly got themselves a rumour of Brad Thorne, another Kiwi, might get to make himself into the Australian coaching booth. But it was a brilliant run from Tane Emu. We're only 10 minutes into this game, and the Waratahs are leading 17-0. That's huge for them in the early stages. Currently now, just waiting for this kick to take place. It's kicked off nicely. Is Jeremy Thrush out there? Can anyone inform me of whether or not that man has started this game? Because I'm looking around for him and I'm just not seeing him. Wayne Smith and Ted have joined the female squad, brothers. What about the proper ABs? As I said, Joey Blaze, of course, referring to the men's All Blacks squad by name, is of course what he was referring to. I'm still looking around. I don't see Jeremy Thrush, but I think he was starting, or he was supposed to be anyway, but they had quite a few late changes. Where are you, Thrush? Okay, he's not there anyway. No, who's that? That's not Jeremy Thrush. I think that's actually going to be Kane Katika. No, Lee Warner's starting at 4. Okay, so there's no sign of Jeremy Thrush for this game. Wayne Smith wants no part of a head coach Fozzie. And there I no, Jeremy Thrush is not playing. So, yeah, initially in the starting lineup, but now being taken out here. Just not ideal for him currently trying to step around the side. It's great work from the Waratahs. And that's going to be close to the turnover. No, unable to do so. So the Waratahs probably, I guess the benefit that they've got is they do have pretty much the same squad as they had on paper, whereas the Western Force have got about 5 changes that they've got to get used to in the early stages of this match, and you can see that it's really taken a toll on them, being 17-0 down already after only 12 minutes. It is kicked off high. Waiting for it. What must go up, or what goes up must come down, I believe is what I was trying to say there. Newsom down the wing, still on the side of the Waratahs. Now Harry Johnson Holmes drops the head, tries to go straight through, and it's going to be another advantage to the Waratahs now. I believe that might have been for no arms. It's forward, so they're going back for the initial penalty, and I believe the Waratahs will take on the 3 points. No, they won't. Sorry, they'll kick for the corner, I should say. That's what I meant. Because they will certainly go for it. And something like Marano getting in trouble there. Are you looking forward to the Black Caps versus England series? I am indeed. The only thing I'm not looking forward to for that one is going to be the time zones, because they're going to suck then all throughout the night. But saying that, we've almost got used to that from the European games. Yeah, we have kind of covered New Zealand Rugby crafty using the drama to dodge the lock or the lack of games they've provided the girls. And there's us, there's Lex Axel. Yeah, because last time they played it was against, was it England and France, I think, were our last 2 games for the women's side of things going into the World Cup. And they need to get rid of Fozzie ASAP, or they need to get rid of Fozzie ASAP, or they will exit the World Cup early. No, I couldn't see. They just have another good run there. Hugh Sinclair, they've got another offside penalty coming against the Western Force. Michael Hooper around the side, and the captain, the skipper, strikes again. And he is loving it at the moment. He has scored in both games that he's been back so far. But Michael Hooper, that is the 3rd game. This is 1-sided and a half at the moment here. But Michael Hooper scores the try. Doodah. It's going to be now 22-0 in this game. And we're only 14 minutes in, ladies and gentlemen. This could be a slaughter fest at Warriors tomorrow afternoon. Says Shane there. And also, can you read my messages? And also, we have got the I will enjoy, make it a show. Episode 2 is hard to watch, and you have to see more Brandon. And there says Brandon also, mate, Hooper for Aussie Prime Minister. I know that Pocock's transitioned to Parliament. And oh boy, Force are getting hammered. They sure are. And you have to wonder, when does it stop for them? Like, how many points do the Waratahs get in this game? I'm going to have a look at some odds, because I doubt the Western Force are favourites to win this game now. Isn't Peacock going Pocock, going for Senator? I believe he is. I think he is getting involved in the kind of government side of things. Imagine Pocock and Michael Hooper just having a bit of a, like, what's it called? A panel against each other. Michael Hooper scores. Once again, gets celebrated by his teammates. This is looking bad for the Western Force now. So for this game, the Western Force to win is paying $26 to be expected, to be honest. And also for the Waratahs, that's nicely done once again, but for the Waratahs to win by 1 to 5 is paying $26. For them to win by 51 plus is paying $11. That is actually quite impressive. Nice backline movement here for Manasa Mataele. And he might be changing this game around just a little bit. Oh, no, he's dropped it. And also, I might try a multi-bet next weekend. And there's Shane and Pocock has turned into a Wokester. And now he's balls deep in the woke sauce. Like 24-0 after 14 minutes. Yep. Not ideal for them at this stage. I'm just looking through at all the information that they've got for this game. The Waratahs to win by 41 to 50 is paying $4.80. That's going to be tricky for the Waratahs, or not the Waratahs. They're loving this game at the moment, but it's certainly not going to be easy for the Western Force to get back into this game. They've got themselves a scrum feed from only 15 meters out from the line near the Waratahs, and they will be looking to try and get themselves over the line one more time in the first 20 minutes. And that's like, they've got a bonus point already. We're 16 minutes through. Defense does not exist at the moment. It's a penalty to the Waratahs. This is a dominant message being sent to the Chiefs here, because that is who the Waratahs are going to have in their first matchup. There you go, and you may have had a big win up against Moana Pacifica, but look what we're doing to the Western Force. And as a far out 24 points already. And as I says, Lex, they have indeed. And all the penalties against the Western Force here. So really nothing has gone right, to say the least. The Western Force and question 2 is online on Discord. You say, and you can look in there. I assume we've got a few people online on the Discord. more than likely. I don't really want to have to open it now just because at the moment it seems like if we blink, we'll miss a try throughout these two sides. But Dave Parecki about to throw this ball in for the Waratahs. Goes over the top, taken nicely by Andrew Reddy. And now big Fergus Lee Warner. He was initially going to be starting at number 6, but that is no longer the case. They did have to have a bit of a reshuffle. They've still got Kateka out there at 7. I'm looking through to see who has become 6 for this one. Currently still hanging on to it. Also Force need to wake up. Well, this game is over. I'd say this game is close to already over for them. And it's going to feel like a long time out there in the middle. Definitely because they've been on the back foot for most of this game. But now nice run forward from the big man at number 6. Now waiting for it. Nice pop pass. Almost attempted. And it's still going to be just available for Pasatoa. Now going back across to Pryor. Nicely taken. Bent. An interesting angle for it. I've been sitting on my ass playing Lego Star Wars game for adults. It is a game for adults. That game is sick. I remember playing that from Video Easy. You'd rent it out for the weekend, try and unlock all of the characters. And because you had your hard drive, like you didn't have to worry about missing out on like having a reset or anything like that. Far Cry 6, I love it so much. Same with SmackDown versus Raw 2007. I think it was. I used to always get, and then okay, they're going nowhere. It's going back for the penalty to the Western Force. I used to always get it, play the general manager mode for like 24 hours and then return it the next day after playing it for just ages. So will Josh be going with Chiefs to Australia? Says Shane. What's the situation at the moment? Is he injured currently, Shane, or is he... Because if he's injured, I'd say they'll just wait till they've got a New Zealand game. I don't think they're too far away. I think it's the next game after their one. They do actually get another home game. Or maybe the game after that. So he's still got a couple of weeks to recover if it is an injury. And they won't be too bad. And up and go and watch you. It's fun to do. And there's Brandon now 5 meters out from line, taken very nicely by Fergus Lee Warner. Currently looking to try and get this rolling more going here. It's not really going anywhere. I think Jed Holloway has gone through the middle and caused quite a bit of trouble for them. It's out at the back, though. He doesn't realize that the ball is in the hands of Santiago Marano. Now passing it off to Pryor. Ball back across. Pasatoa, Manasa Mataeli. Good carry forward. Pop pass up to Pasatoa. And he's gone over. And now it's a try for the Western Force number 10. This one's going back and forth just like what goes back and forth? A saw, I guess. A seesaw. Not really seesaw, but it goes up and down in this game. There'll be highs and lows for both of these teams. With the Western Force, they'll be happy to at least get some form of points on the board now. Western Force try... Scorers. There we go. It was Pasatoa, the man who I didn't realize had a first name up until just before, because I always just call him Pasatoa. Now, 19 minutes into the game, it's a nice try for the Western Force. That gets them just a little bit further back into this contest now. I've got there as well. I'm anticipating the results of whether Christie is healthy too. If not, Blues have only one halfback. Geez, that's going to be hard for them. So is Taufa Funaki out at the moment? Or is he actually... No, he'll actually be the only halfback, won't he? And 42 to 58 on the try, says Brandon. Also, we have got there... question for you, Amish. What is your favourite big car sport live stream? Favourite one? I know there was one ages ago that was Australia versus India that I was in the chat for, and we were trying to predict it, and I managed to bang on the money, predict Glenn Maxwell to hit a 6. And I think it was quite an exciting one. I was at Seesaw, but there was a fat man on one end. And there says Paddy Wagon, although you just got to make sure he sits a little bit further forward. It's all about the physics side of it. So, yeah, as long as he's up a little bit further, you'll be able to seesaw him as long as you're right at the back, getting a little bit of extra leverage on it. But Pasatoa doing nicely, scoring the try there. Now makes a score after 21 minutes, 24 to 7. This is a full-time score already, and we've had a quarter of this match. Kane Koteka passes it back across. Nice run forward from Tim Anstey, who did get the start at number 6. Due to the other ones that do you think any Australian team can beat the Blues? I think so, to be honest. I think there's a couple of sides that could definitely put their names in the hat for it. Anything is possible, says Betty Wagon. Exactly right. Like, even if the Blues don't have an off game, I still feel the Australian sides are closer this year than they were last year. And, of course, I may have to eat my words if they end up going very wrong. And, even the Fiji and Drua, no one knows how to play against them. You either get lucky or you don't. And a few sides have got unlucky, but the Fiji and Drua, I can't put it completely past them not to go out there and just rattle the Blues next week. And I was even Ruiz, says Petty Wagon. However, currently now, Newsom with a little knock on for the Waratahs, and momentum's starting to go slightly back in favour of the Western Force, but they're still going to have to make sure that they keep this pressure on. Currently, the Western Force about to feed this ball in will be Ian Pryor, the experienced man. So far, kicks in play. They have actually kicked double the meters here for the Waratahs, waiting for the ball at the back. I think it's hit a foot. That was a knock on the ground, I would say. But they have said that it is going to be all right. Pasatoa with a good run. It's as if just getting that try gives them that little bit of extra strength, a little bit of an extra spring in the step also. Now Pryor goes back to Kyle Godwin in the midfield. Tackled by Harry Johnson-Holmes. Still waiting for all those. That was not supposed to go into the hands of who it did there for Ryan McCauley. He was actually not ready for it prior. Now goes back to Pasatoa, who puts up the box kick. Richard Kahui getting after him, waiting for it. Doesn't get onto it. But now I believe it's going to be just on the side of the Waratahs. Yes, it is. And Brumbies versus Highlanders will be a good game. Money Banks had a good game tonight. Yeah, definitely with the kicking tee. He did very nicely. And also we have got their drawers seem to have gone backwards on protecting the ball and game management. And there says Lax. Yeah, their last couple of weeks, they've been a little bit, I guess, rough-er. But the big thing is sometimes it takes a big team as your opposition to make you step up to a big occasion. That's gone out on the full. The Western Force now going to have the line out and draw. First 3 games, they were turnover machines. Says Lax. So, yeah, if they can bring that back in the game up against the Blues, and protecting the ball is going to be so important up against the likes of a Papali, a Satutu, those guys, Eklund, who gets straight in there and just gets on it. And also we have got there, it is a T20. And there, as I says, Brandon. Currently now thrown into the back, nicely taken in the lineup for McCauley. Now first receiver, it will be big Kane Kateka, who is just dangerous when he runs it straight. Nice pop pass up from Kyle Godwin, linking up with Fergus Lee Warner on his inside, 40 metres out currently. Manasa Mataeli, a little bit of a set play there for the Western Force in the breakdown. It hasn't quite worked out though. Hugh Sinclair straight on the ball. And he is going to get it back. No, it's taken back by the Western Force. Now juggle from Stander down the wing. Ralston initially wasn't going to be in the starting lineup. Instead, Tony Pulu was going to get that opportunity. Now firing it back across. Good run forward. There's an advantage for the Western Force. Moana Pacific is suffering from too much rugby. Yeah, unfortunately, you can't play Super Rugby more than once a week. It just takes too much out of your body. And they've had to make a huge amount of changes per game, which really has taken its toll. It's very unfortunate for Moana Pacific, but currently now straight out in front. Strawn E is going to be kicking for touch, the Western Force. So they've decided this game is not going to be won with 3-pointers. They need 7s and they need them now. Nicely struck there. It's going to be about 15 metres out. Now, the big thing here is if Western Force score again, they're down by 10 points if they convert. That's not a huge margin. It's pretty big, but it's not huge. So they will have to keep on going and see if they can get back into it. And also, we've got there question for you, Hamish. What is your favourite on my YouTube channel live stream? You can pick as you and the chats. I think I watched one of the career modes for the rugby, didn't I? A little while ago. But Pryor now passing it back across. Stander was willing to sell that dummy, and Andrew Reddy has to join that breakdown to keep it on the side of the Western Force now. Once again, Pryor goes back across to Santiago Morano. It's looking pretty good. Currently for the defense of the Waratahs, as long as they don't get themselves offside, that is going to be the big kicker for them in this game. The discipline, it's a great counter ruck. I believe that was Michael Hooper who was just committing his legs and the drive to it. I see Kyle Goldwyn lurking at the back here for the back line of the Western Force, and he might get a little pop pass up here if he's not careful. He has gone into the breakdown, though, to protect that ball for his side force, get a try back in the game. Exactly right. And that is exactly what they will be after. Once again, I see Kyle Goldwyn. He is actually lurking a lot deeper than the fullback, so I don't know whether or not that is something that they are planning on using in the later stages of this game. Kane Kateka now with another carry forward, trying to get on the ball for the Waratahs, unable to do so. Stander, is he German? I believe he's South African. If I'm not wrong, that was Ford. The referee's saying it's fine, though. So they are going to be playing on just for now. Pryor now across into the hands of the big number one. Going down quite nicely there, Harry Lloyd. Now off to Andrew Reddy. Closer and closer. They're closing in on the try line currently. Now Pasatoa back to Godwin. Like I mentioned, he has been relatively deep. He was almost having a turnover there originally for our final. We got 85 people on after the live stream. Now Pasatoa once again going back across. It's a quick bit of movement there at the back line. Manasa Mataeli. I said that around the wrong way, didn't I? Now Pasatoa sold the dummies as if he was going on the inside. 2 gold when the captain was playing his 100th match for this matchup. And now if it's anything to do with what happened with Brad Weber, he got 2 tries in his 100th game. So perhaps this could be the case for him as well. Now Manasa Mataeli, he's lost his pants, but it is a good tackle on him. And going short side Pryor out to Richard Kahui. Tackled out by Noquanita Wasi just a little bit too high. And that tackle by Pasatoa. Now back to Fergus Lee Warner. Pop pass up to Andrew Reddy. The Western Force just can't quite get through at the moment. They're working hard. Pryor goes back to Pasatoa. Now looking for the wide pass. It was going to be Jake Strawn instead. Decides to back himself and trying to go back across. Hugh Sinclair as he got that one. No, not quite. Now Pryor goes back. Santiago Marano offload beautifully to Kane Kateka with the sidestep. Didn't find the pop pass after Kyle Godwin, though. That would have been a certain try for the man. Now Manasa Mataeli close to the try line here for the Western Force, and they continue to build the phase after phase after phase. Waiting for it now. It will be big Santiago Medrano. As it his ankles taken out from underneath him. And Stander sounds like a South African name. I say, yeah, I think he is South African. Might even have some Springbok caps, if I'm not wrong, from a little while ago. Now, still with advantage here. They're up to 25 phases. I haven't even mentioned the fact that they're sitting there on 25 phases. It's a penalty to the Waratahs. Wow. The Waratahs, Ian Pryor is asking the question, was advantage really over? Probably wasn't. And Penrith are looking good in the NRL. I got win last night as well, says Shane Hayes, and also Kuch 5 half done. Watching not to say well. And now, I mean, I am terrible at pronunciation. That's probably my big one. Now, it was a nice pop-up. Kane Kateka, he never saw Godwin, and he needed to see Godwin, unfortunately, because he would have been going over for the first try of the match for one of the backs of the Western Force, I should mention. That's a lie. We've seen a number 10 try. First centre to score. That's a lie. Fakiti scored. First try for him. We'll go with that. Everything else links up, doesn't it? Michael Hooper, very happy with the effort from his side there. Only like they're saying the Waratahs, they did very nicely. Do not say well for 29 minutes. Yeah, but now that one is going to be going into Dutch. Nicely done by Tane Edmonds. And currently the Waratahs, if they get themselves another try, you'd have to argue that it might be a little bit too much to make up for the Western Force. Although, with the fact that they're still keeping themselves in the game, the last 5 minutes, the territory has been 100% in favour of the Force, and they were almost able to steal that one at line-out time, but Jed Holloway does take it extremely well. And now they start to march forward. Dave Parecki at the back of the rolling wall for the Waratahs. Jay Gordon now receives it. Pop pass up to Angus Bell. Just try and carry his way just a little bit closer towards the line. And also look at Hamish. And there's us, here's Petty Wagon. Hamish. Is that a question? Maybe? I don't know. Just the name in it. And now Jake Gordon kicks it up high. Nicely taken by Manasa Mataeli. Going straight through almost Hugh Sinclair. He has been sensational in this game. Charlie Gamble was on the ball but lost his footing in the end. So the turnover is not going to be a clean one. Still working for it on the ground, but Pryor still keeps it on the side of the Western Force. Pasatoa, good hands from him. Now out to Strawn. Ball on the outside. Ralston off to Kyle Godwin. Does have a step 40 metres out now. That was a Hamish. And there as well. And now passing it back. Pasatoa. Good run forth from Fergus Lee Warner. Now waiting for it once again. Beautiful inside ball. Kahui finds the offload off to Fergus Lee Warner. Now still waiting for it. It was almost going to be the penalty by the sounds of it. Now nice ball on the inside to Ralston. Well, that one Pryor passing it back across Andrew Reddy. Goes off to Santiago Medrano. And now still waiting for it. It's another penalty to the Waratahs. Massive moment for them in that one. And Charlie Gamble once again doing extremely well for himself. Charlie Gamble, he's been looking dangerous throughout this one. Brian now going across. I feel like at the moment it just seems like you guys are just trying to get timed out. Possibly. Maybe. It was as if you guys had like that telekinesis that you were like, right, We're just going to try and annoy him. Not really working. Charlie Gamble. Now, he was able to get over the ball there. Was able to do very nicely, but currently 32 minutes into this game. And the Waratahs, they are sitting on 24 points in there as well. Okay, we'll put that in there as our mind as well. And now I'm going to be passing that one into the rolling maul situation for the Waratahs. And also, how's the Storm game going? Says Shane in there. They're going, last time I checked, I think it was still close to 0-0, or we had only seen about one try, but I'll have a quick look and see how they are sitting currently. I don't want to spoil it for anyone, but I'll say who's winning at this point in time. So currently, okay, no, that's gone a little bit further on. At halftime, Melbourne Storm are just ahead. But I won't tell you scores or anything like that, just so that I don't spoil it too much. And there, now it is going to be Jake Gordon firing that ball in. I'm just bored. I am sorry to be boring you, Paddy. But now Noah Kwanitawasi, the ball goes up, not able to take it too cleanly. Now Pryor goes back across 40 metres out for the line here. And it is going to be a good low tackle on Jake Strawn up to the halfway line now. They continue to build phase after phase. Pasatoa going for the kick and behind. It's going to be taken beautifully by Alex Newsom. Offloads it back up to Edmund. And that one has gone into touch. No worries at all for them in that one. I'll tell you, Edmund, he's not too happy with that clearance. I think he felt he could get a lot more meters on it than he did. Now the Western Force once again with Andrew Reddy are going to have another opportunity to be able to go for the line out. They'll be hoping that it does go all right for themselves in this situation. But anyone who is new to the channel, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Now Pryor goes back across Kane Kateka. And yeah, now just waiting for it. And also you say something. And there's Brandon now. Nice run forward from Manasa Mateli. Now Pryor goes back across to Santiago Medrano. Waiting for it. The crowd's starting to get behind the Western Force. That was not a good pass, but it sits up nicely for Richard Kahui. Still just going to have the ball in his side. Now there's going to be Ian Pryor once again. Oh, it's a late counter ruck from, I believe it was Big Will Harris taking out the number one of the opposite side, Harry Lloyd. Now passing across Godwin. Goes off to Straw Manasa Mateli. He's already had probably about 50 metres carried throughout this game. And we are still in the first half. It's been back and forth between these two sides. All momentum in the first 10 minutes went the way of the Waratahs. Then after that, the Western Force have slowly been building their way back into it. Going for the kick and behind. It's going to be a juggle there from, I believe it was Dylan Petch. And they have set it as a knock-on. As once again, another mistake from the Waratahs. It's as if as soon as they found that momentum, it's just gone downhill. And I'll say, Hamish, what did you say? As I says, Petty Wagon, probably something to do with the rugby, I would think. Overall, but Dylan Petch, it was a knock-on for him in that situation. Just a little bit of a extra juggle, more than he would have wanted. The worst thing is he caught it while facing backwards and somehow managed to knock it on forwards. So that's hard work to be able to do that. But Dylan Petch, he had about 3 goes out. It wasn't able to hang on. And now the scrum feed inside of the 22 here for the Western Force to once again have another attacking opportunity. Or in fact, 25 minutes out from there. And I was like, I can't hear you. And as I says, Paddy Wagon, there's a volume button on the side of your phone, mate. Use it. But currently now, Pryor is about to be going for another scrum feed. Oh, pre-engagement for that one. And also, you lost. Says Brandon. I see. Currently now, it is sitting at 36 minutes through the game. The Waratahs sitting there on 24 and the Western Force sitting on 7. Currently quite a good difference between the two sides. But the Waratahs, they haven't got their bonus point anymore at this point in time. And I see Zelly, welcome in. The live stream, hope you are doing well. Currently, Pasatoa, the only try scorer for the Western Force throughout this game. Scrum penalties, 2 in favour of the Western Force. And now Ian Pryor, he is going to be going for that one. It's gone down the front row. And also he lives in the pineapple under the sea. And also sound is all good here. And there's the Shane and also I said Brandon. But now it's gone down the front row. This seems like it's going to be a bit more stop-startish for these two sides when it comes to trying to get that rolling ball going. Or getting the scrum reset, I should say. Currently now the Western Force, they are sitting there 37 minutes. So if they can score again, they've got a decent chance of being able to get into the halftime, possibly with only a 10-point deficit, but that's a big thing. They need another try, and they need it right now. It's going to be a good opportunity, though, as long as they don't give away a penalty at scrum time, which is a possibility. And yeah, now nicely passed across. Now off into the hands of Ralston, sitting only 15 metres out from the line. Kane Koteka, having a nice carry forward. Fergus Lee Warner making his way forward. It's another advantage, this time against Michael Hooper, for getting his body in the wrong position and a little bit offside. Now Pasatoa finding the ball back. Kyle Goldwyn with some good hands there. That pass wasn't supposed to go to him, but it's worked out very nicely. Now out to Richard Kahui. Manasa Mataeli on the outside if he needs. He is wrestled down by Michael Hooper. Now going back. Now sitting there about 15 metres out from the line. And also we got there, I tell it, maybe I'll ask, just time you out. It's easier, isn't it? And now Pryor passing that back across to Pasatoa. Fergus Lee Warner, another good carry forward. And he has been able to once again lure in the defence enough to get the advantage. The Waratahs, their discipline could get them in trouble here. For the later stages, it's a nice sling and pass out wide, but they're going back for the initial penalty. And that one, Michael Hooper now, not ideal. Currently offside in there for the Waratahs. It's about the fourth time that they've been offside as well. Michael Hooper considered trying to get that ball. We're cutting it off, but Richard Kahui, he's been well isolated throughout that one. That looks like Fergus Lee Warner's jersey has got a thread loose going straight across his face. It looks like Strawn will be kicking this one for the touchline once again. Or do they? What is the plan? Yes, it is. They will be kicking it for the touchline. Oh, I just saw a possible opportunity for them to go for the cross kick, but I think they decided against it. In the end, that one's going to be kicked towards the touchline. Nicely done. Almost goes up onto the roof, but Manasa Mataeli averaging a competition high 94 metres per game when he is running with the ball. So he's a key asset for the Western Force. A great signing from the Crusaders that they were able to pick up. Now taken beautifully by the Waratahs, only a few metres out from the line there. And it has not worked out too well. And currently, I don't think Andrew Reddy is too happy with that one. I think he felt that the gap might have been a little bit closed too soon. Now another opportunity. It is gone. Jake Gordon kicks it for the touchline. Currently only 30 seconds left. And also we have got that, hey, don't put me in there. I'm innocent. And as I says, Paddy, I mean, I feel like the chat from earlier on, we might be able to see something maybe. And I was like, are you going to do any more NRL? There's a game on Monday, says Shane. Which game is on Monday? Shane, I will have a quick look. See who is going to be playing and what time that game is taking place on the Monday. It is the Eels versus West Tigers. We could consider it depending on, although I think I'll be sleeping on Monday for a majority of the time, perhaps. For anyone who hasn't already, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It's a clean turnover for the Waratahs once again. And now, by the looks of it, Jake Gordon will be putting this ball back, kicking it into touch. And now halftime is upon us. 24 points to the 7 of the Western Force. It was such a quick start. Hey, that was my ghost. And there it says, Paddy. A good fight back from the Western Force, who actually you'd have to say at the better of the last 20 minutes of that one. But the Waratahs scoring those 3 quick tries, you just can't really fight back in a hurry against something like that. But they're showing there the World Rugby HSBC Sevens is going to be coming very soon. I got Storm Score. And there as well, says Shane Hayes. But currently now we are sitting at halftime in this one. But yeah, anyone who hasn't already, be sure to leave a like on the live stream. It is hugely appreciated. I don't know what our like goals for the Australian live streams normally are. I guess anything above 20 would be a pretty decent effort. And we do appreciate all of you being here. Also, be sure to check out that pinned comment. The Kiwi Lads Extras is a channel that we do use quite often. And yes, 3 quick tries by tags or by the Tars. Well, so here's MH Joy. And yeah, it certainly just killed all chance of the Western Force having a good start to the match. After those 3 tries, though, they look good. But it was just they were always playing the catch-up game. But it was a great try from Pasatoa. Try and get them slightly back more into the contest. Still not going to be too easy for them throughout the later stages. Back to question 2, who is online. You open it as well, says Brandon. I will have a look for you, Brandon. Even though I think if you're talking about the Kiwi Lads Discord server, you can also do this. It literally has the option to see. So online, it has got myself, has got Ellie on her phone, Jay, Novmum, and Paddy Wagon are all in idle mode. That's who's online for the server. There you go. Currently now waiting for the second half to get back underway. Hopefully it is going to be a quick pace one once again here. Also, I'm going to try and make next Islanders home game against the Australian team. So I'm not too sure when the next game is. I'll just have a quick look. And Force started getting more possession in the later stages of this half with a quick start by the Tahs hurt them. It certainly did. It was going to be extremely tricky for them to fight back from where it started. So the Highlanders, they've got a away game up against the Fijian Drew. Of course, that game's going to be taking place in Suva. Then they've got an away game up against the Reds. Their next home game's actually up against the Western Force, and that will be on the 13th of May for that one. And then they've also got a home game up against the Waratahs, followed by a game away up against the Rebels for that one. So there's a little bit of a mixed bag for them. And I was like, what about me? Says Brandon, it didn't have you online. It had you as offline for the Kiwi lads that scored server. So I was just going off that list, and that's what it had. It's also always difficult to play catching up without exposing your defense and making errors and eagerness to get even exactly right. And I would say there's a good chance that we might see some sort of interception try at some point throughout it. So the thing is, like, the Waratahs, I see them getting another early try, possibly at some stage soon. And there. Okay, now it's got you as idle, Brandon. So it doesn't have you as actually online, but it's got you as idle now that you've put that in there. Now currently just waiting for the second half to get back underway. Already 3 tries scored for the Waratahs and a very quick start to that one. Pasatoa scored the one for the Western Force, but the Waratahs, Nawakwanita Wasi, was able to score for Kitty, and Michael Hooper was the other try scorers for the Waratahs. So Michael Hooper, 2 games back in Super Rugby, 2 tries scored for that man. Very impressive for his strike rate, that is for sure. But a few late changes for the Western Force really kept them out of this game for the very early stages. And also they just seemed like they weren't quite rearing to go. And the Waratahs made the most of it, scored those 3 early tries in the form of Nawakwanita Wasi, Foketi, and Hooper. And also, have you played Cricket 22? I am still yet to play it. I bought it right when it came out. Still haven't played it as of yet, but I'm hoping to relatively soon. Overall, but currently now, the Bunnings Warehouse is the sponsor of this one. Of course, Bunnings NPC just around the corner, perhaps. All right, but I think they're going to have a bit of a halftime show here between the two sides. It was a dangerous tackle to start this game off for Andrew Reddy. That's for sure, but Pasatoa was able to drive over for the 1 try of the Force. And do you think the Force, giving so many penalties, could result in a yellow in the second half? I'd have to argue. I think, to be honest, the Waratahs are sitting in that same boat because they are certainly sitting in a tricky situation. They've given away about 10 penalties inside of their 22. Also, what about me? I've had enough now. I want my Share Classic. Oh, what about me by Shannon Knoll? Or not originally by Shannon Knoll, though. He actually did the cover of it initially. It's a lot older. I think, No, it wasn't Meatloaf who had that initial one. All right. Now currently sitting 24 points to the Waratahs, 7 for the Western Force now. Do let me know your full-time predictions that a yellow card could change the complexity of this game. Exactly right. If they do end up having a yellow for the Waratahs, if not, maybe, 2 yellows. 2 yellows, I think, could almost put this back to an even playing field as long as the Waratahs don't score any more tries at the early stages of this half. The Western Force, like they're saying, they were in a quick hurry to get underway. Nawakwanita Wasi was able to score that very first try of the match. But the big thing for me is the Western Force need to use that backline, but also they need to find a way of minimalizing the risk of using it because the big forwards, we saw them do 26 phases right next to the breakdown. Waratahs were on top of it. And it's only a matter of time until you see Hooper, Sinclair, or Charlie Gamble get in there and steal that ball. And then you kind of lose all of that attacking play that you did have up to that point. So if they can somehow get themselves, I guess, very lucky in the early stages, get through out on the wing, give it to Manasa Mataele, get him over the line. And also just what I say, it was funny. And as I said, Brandon, I assume that was the one about the subscribing to the Kiwi Lads Sport, maybe? But yeah, it is actually playing comment on the extra and also on the pin comment. It's got the extras and the other one, which is the Kiwi Lads Sports. So be sure to check those two out if you haven't already. Currently now the points differential is going to be going quite nicely in favour of the Waratahs. And also we've got the Force need to score first. And there's Shane. And also your Stars made 3 tries in the first 14 minutes. Can you top this? And yeah, it's certainly going to be tricky for them. And also we have got their 52-12. It's the prediction for the Waratahs. So winning that game by 40 points in that case. See, that's the thing. The Waratahs, they'll be over the moon with the way that game started. But then after that, you'd have to argue if points weren't a factor, they did get relatively dominated in the second half. Yes, they were still winning the occasional penalty, but a lot of the time it was the Western Force on the attack. They had 100% territory in the last 5 minutes at one point of the game. Rejan Pasatoa with a very nice run forward, and most definitely Force need to get out of the blocks quick. But yeah, scoring early try in the second half, all of a sudden you're looking at 14-24. They're back in the contest, but that's the thing. They need the try, and they will be concentrating extremely hard on trying to make it happen. Richard Carr, he just ended up, I think, whacking his balls on the back of Pasatoa's head, which is why he was kind of walking around a bit gingerly after that try was scored. I did notice, but Richard Carr, he's rocking the mustache at the moment, maybe in honor of Jeremy Thrush, who is not here for this game. I'm not too sure where he ended up, whether it is an injury. This game isn't overseas, Amelia, exactly right. That's the thing with Super Rugby. There he was, Jeremy Thrush. He's got his grey beard. At this stage, he's aged quite drastically for this season overall. But the possession in the first half, 69% in favour of the Western Force. Visits to opposition 22, 6. Time in the opposition 22, 7 minutes and 5 seconds. 15 seconds, in fact. But they have only scored the 1 try. Penalties conceded. It's got 7 against the Western Force. They've had a lot more advantages against the Waratahs, though, in that first half. Turnovers conceded 8 for the Waratahs, 6 for the Force, and then offloads. They've had 3 so far. I'm not familiar with Southern Hemisphere Rugby. Who is each team's best player, says Jack. So the Waratahs, you'd have to say Michael Hooper is definitely the number 1 for the Waratahs, although there is a couple other players who are making their way up there. And then for the Force, you'd probably say Manasa Mataeli out on the wing. He did play for the Crusaders last year. And then also for the Western Force, in that 4-pack, you're probably looking at someone like a Fergus Lee Warner. He's pretty impressive for a majority of the games that they do end up playing. And then maybe, I'm just looking through, maybe Pryor could be another one to mention just for his halfback skills that he does bring to the side. Okay, so they're saying that quite a few of the players did actually end up with positive cases, which is why they weren't playing for this matchup. But currently, the next game that we are going to be covering on the channels, ladies and gentlemen, it will be the matchup taking place, hopefully, between Exeter and Munster. If my voice is still going, we are going to be doing that game, followed by a whole heap of Sevens. We will be doing, I believe we've got about 13 Sevens live streams that will be coming up, and I will be getting them all prepared, hopefully scheduled by about 1 a.m., so you guys know exactly what is going to be taking place. It should be exciting. The other go, do you think Munster can turn it around against Exeter? I believe they can. I think home game for Munster is huge. Thorpe Park, it's going to be tricky for Exeter, but the big thing is if Exeter can find their gear early, get that little bit of a lead, maybe like a 10 to 15 point lead, that all of a sudden just changes a game like we've seen here. The moment the Western Force are playing catch-up, and because it's a 2-legger, you know that this is your last opportunity. So Exeter might start throwing some wide, or Munster, sorry, might start throwing some wide cutout passes. I see that they've got a few of their players back, such as Omani in there, and also a couple other returns in there. And what Idle do on Discord, it just means pretty much you've got Discord kind of open, but not really. Like, it's nothing really too different from online. It's just, it's there, but it's not. If that makes sense. Currently now, we are sitting probably about 2 minutes away from the second half getting underway, I would think. And hopefully it is going to be exciting. Do you think Ulster can hang on against Toulouse? I think so. But it's going to be very tricky for them. Like, it's going to be even harder than that last game. It just means you aren't there most times. And as well says Sebastian. Oh, sorry, that was actually Petty. Oh, that one. But, yeah, the big thing is... I don't know. It's going to be a good game between Ulster and Toulouse. And I know that that game has taken place a little bit later on in the night, I believe. And I will actually get to watch that game alongside the other games that are taking place. And speaking of other games taking place, 45 minutes time, we are going to get to see Harlequins taking on Montpellier and their matchup. And the Quins, they are down by about 14, and they need a massive fight back here if they do want a chance of making it through. Does Western Force have a chance? Says Reese. A very thin one. They're not 100% out of this contest, but they are close to it. So they'd have to argue probably about a, what would you say, maybe a 3% chance of winning at this stage. And what time is it? Your side, Amish, you look tired. So currently we are sitting at 10:46 p.m., but we have got our next stream taking place at 2 a.m. New Zealand time. And then after that, we are going right through to 2 p.m. And then George is coming around for a filming session. So I've probably got another, I'd say 18 hours of being awake, if not maybe a few more, maybe about 20 hours left of our time. But we always got there. My sister is at the stoop now. And yeah, and I was like, yes, Betty. And also we have got that, you done it again. She's a Betty wagon for that one. But currently they're advertising me a smart TV. I mean, as much as I love one, I don't think I will be going for a smart TV. Definitely not, because we've already got that one up there that works not terribly, but I do just use my monitors really for everything. I don't think I got too many times that I've actually used that TV other than today. I'm going to have the Champions Cup up on that one so that I can see exactly what is going on. But if not, I'll probably just have it on the other one, so it's all good. Anyway, I love minimalizing tabs. And you're certainly a night owl. I should presume you sleep during the day normally, although it does depend a little bit in terms of what we've got on. So weekends-wise, I always sleep during the day up till Super Rugby starts. Then I wake up, do those games, go through the night, then go to sleep, wake up, do the Super Rugby games and stuff. Like I do the URC, random hour of the night games all over the place. But for today, I'm actually, I'm going to be going to bed possibly just when it's starting to get dark. And then, as in tomorrow, I should say. So I'll probably another 21 hours. And then I'll be sleeping for about 8 hours or so. And then I'll get to wake up, do the Sevens day, back to sleep after that, and then go from there type thing. And I was like, the Hamish the Night Owl is what we call them. And I haven't had a TV for 15 years. And he says, Eric, that's the thing. Nowadays, you don't really need a TV, to be honest. You like everything's digital. You can either have a laptop, a phone, an iPad, anything along those lines, and you're sweet. Like you don't really need a TV per se. Definitely not nowadays. If you don't have a smart TV, it really doesn't give you a lot of options. I think, but currently now the Waratahs are about to make their way back out onto the park, ready to go for this one. So important that they start this second half well, or else they're going to be in trouble. And it is not what they will be wanting for the early stages. The Charlie Gamble, Angus Bell, couple big boys, and also Jamie Roberts going to be coming off the bench in the later stages of this matchup. Alongside, it was initially going to be Richard Kawi, but they did have to make the late change due to a few positive cases, I believe it has been. And also, how's the channel growing? We have got the how's the channel growing since getting to 10K subs. And there says Cameron, it has been going very well. And I think it's just down to, I would like to think it's from consistency, just because we haven't really had a day off since last year, I think. And even on days where there's no upload, there's still editing, recording, and all that kind of thing going on behind the scenes. Like the last time I had more than an hour where I wasn't doing something to do with YouTube, it's probably Christmas, maybe. Now pass it back across. Nicely done by Pasatoa, kicking it downfield. It's a great kick as well. Oh, no, it's not, because he's taking it back. The Pasatoa, he does end up getting it wrong, and now gives the Waratahs a good attacking opportunity at the early stages of the second half. Like they say, Pasatoa was unable to work out the fact that that ball had gone back into the 22. An early little mistake from the Western Force, and now the Waratahs, they want to start the second half just like they started the first. Still 69% territory or 69% position in favour of the Western Force. Now going for the rolling ball. And also we have got the Hamish, have you got a joke today? Not really. I feel like jokes on the spot, they need context or else they just are dry pretty much. And also I don't think I'll be able to stay awake for the Sevens, but I'll try, says Shane. If you do need to sleep, mate, no worries at all. Like, be sure to rest first, rugby later. It's going to be nicely done by the Western Force, only 10 metres out from the line, and it's Thunder got over the ball. They'll create plenty of pressure And also nice punch aim. And there's us, there's Danny. Currently just straight through the middle. Who was that? It was actually, I think that was Andrew Reddy, was it? And you get on the ball. I was aware of that. I've got a good joke as well. Says Amelia, right. Let's hear it. Let's see how. Is it going to be something to do with Virgin River? Because it may be, if that is the case, we might not get it. But I know that you would definitely know that one. Yeah, it's kicked out. And let's hear it, Amelia, says Cameron. Yeah, as well, but currently 40 metres out. And let's hear it, Amelia. Oh, a little bit of jinx going on there. In fact, it's pretty much exactly the same other than like capitals in different spots. Well, what goes up but never goes down. Or what goes up but never comes down. So here's Amelia there. I will allow her to put in the answer first. That one, but now Parisi going to be going nicely. Ball on the outside. Links up beautifully. Ball on the inside. Oh, it's a terrible pass from Dylan Peach. And it's a blown opportunity. He tried to set up for Kitty. And it was utterly shocking from the Waratahs. Peach puts his hands on his head and goes, just what happened there? And the worst thing is, he probably could have made it to the corner himself, but unselfishly decided for Kitty deserved to get the try here. And it just didn't quite work out. Nicely done by Newsom. Dylan Peach going for the corner. And that was not a great pass, unfortunately, for him. And now the Western Force. And also we have got there your age. And there as well says Cameron. Your age says Amelia as well. There you go. Very true. Hang on. Might be a loophole, daylight saving. No, not really a loophole, is it? Currently now it's going down in the front row for them in the rolling ball. And now available Ian Pryor passes it back across. And it'd be a nice bit of drawing pass. And also, Letty, you got it. And there's us, Amelia now ball on the outside. Manasa Mateli close to the touchline, throws it back in. Beautifully taken by Ralston, but he is driven into touch. And that is going to be going back for the initial penalty. And damn, noisy boy racists are out in there. And it's the only one I know. And then Hamish's ageless human, I doubt it. Look at that. If I go like that, I get about 7 lines there, mate. So, yeah, nah. Probably aging quicker than a lot of people. Nicely done by Manasa Matieli, keeping it in the field of play. And also goodbye, says Brandon. We will see you later on, mate. But that one, it was going to be tricky for Ralston to get it back into the field of play. Manasa Matieli, still disappointed, but he is actually the leading meter runner in the competition at CEO Rugby Sevens. And there, as says Brandon, so we will see you later on. A few bald spots too, says Danny. Yeah, just a few. I mean, it's definitely on like that side. Like, the thing is, I have my hair back and it just kind of epitomizes my hairline, which, I mean, I'm fine with it overall. Like, if you're trying to not age, I feel like you're trying not to, like, live. You know, it's natural. You're going to age anyway. You might as well just see what it ends up like. I'm trying to get my body rested and ready for Super Rugby round next week. And I spend most of the day resting. Says Amelia now, another rolling ball here for the Western Force. As I have a joke. And there says Paddy, let's hear it, Paddy. If this is not a good joke, we'll put the pressure on you. If it's not a good joke, I'm going to take away your spanner for 24 hours. Jeez, that's harsh, isn't it? We'll see how it goes. Paddy, let's see if we can get a chuckle. What's big and funny? Right. Let's see. Currently, number 1, I believe that's Angus Bell, just getting a little bit of a warning there. He needs to be very careful with the way that he joins for collapsing the maul. Angus Bell, you're not too happy. He gives a little shake of the head. And also, George on sugar. I dropped something. Right. I feel like George, he'd take it as a slight compliment, but then also he would want me to take away your spinner. So it's like, do I do what George wants? Or do I do what I think I should? And also we have got there, I don't know any Virgin River jokes anyways. And there's us, says Amelia. And now it is going to be going in. Nicely taken by Fergus Lee Warner. 10 metres out from the line, and it's starting to roll quite nicely forward for the Western Force. It's really spinning. So I have no idea who's ended up with this one. It's going to be off the back. Kane Klateka goes over. In fact, I believe it was Fergus Lee Warner. And that is massive for them there. And Jake Gordon at the moment, he's still getting pushed and shoved. He's going, why are you holding me down? And now it's an angry boy in the front row there for Santiago Marano. They are going to be running back. And it's nicely done. Who ended up getting that one? I think it was Fergusley Warner got it initially. Was he the one who went over the line, though, or did someone else end up with it at the end of that one? Oh, okay, it was actually Anstey. Anstey. There we go. Anstey has gone over the try line, and that is the second try now for the Western Force, ladies and gentlemen. So they are now getting back into the match. And also, we've got the Who Scored says Cameron. It was the Western Force. We're able to go over, and now they are just a little bit closer in that one. Charlie Gamble trying to help out one of the Waratahs teammates. We're underneath the rolling ball, and also, but one way you can tell someone is, or that they're in that case, is just tell them that they're nuttier than a fruitcake. It's one of my favorite lines in Virgin River. Says Amelia there as well. Currently, Tim Anstey, his second try of 2022 and a massive one. Get them back in, and George. And there, as I says, Paddy. Wait, so you want me to do what George would want me to do, but that would be taking away your spanner, Paddy. So that's almost you saying you resign. Also, come on, Force. Here's Jane Hayes, and also let's go Force. Here's Cameron there as well. Nicely done by Anstey. Does get himself and his side just a little bit further back into this game, and it's an important kick for Pryor to be able to put this one over. Like they're saying, Tim Anstey up 15 kgs in the off-season. That is pretty big. Overall, I think that's about what Dalton Pavali's been putting on every once in a while. But now Ian Pryor about to line up this kick here. We haven't actually had a huge amount of stoppages throughout the second half. And also, we've got the George will find it funny. Plus, you have seen him with Fanta. And do you want me to messenger him that one and see if he enjoys it? Should I do that? Do you want to see if George, he's currently, I think, online. Maybe, but maybe not. Right. One moment. We'll go like this. And also, I urge you to try Chinese needles. You will lose stress and wrinkles. And as and also Force need more tries, and they can't be missing conversions if they want to get back into this game. That is true. And unfortunately, just another missed one. That's going to be the penalty now to the Waratahs. And they need to try and shift this momentum that's slowly starting to form in favour of the Western Force. Now looking for the touchline, it is Tane Edmund. I didn't actually send that in the end. I just took a photo of it. Now kicking for the touchline. Great kick from Edmund. And he thought it was bad for a start, but it worked out to be so beautiful for himself. And also a friend of mine set some challenges next week for Super Rugby or Super Round. One of them was buying, or is being that when I buy food, I'm not allowed to buy the same thing twice. That's actually a cool way of looking at it. Also, do you have grey hairs too? Yeah, quite a few. I real like the occasional one sneaks in. I've also got a couple orange hairs on my beard, and like we look through the family genes and we're like, where do they come from? We're all now Dave Parecki at the back trying to get this rolling maul going for the Waratahs, creeping closer and closer. Bo Abra, he is out on the field now. That is replacing Harry Lloyd, still getting close. Close now, very close, extremely close and over. And they do go in an which I will fly to you and tackle you tomorrow when you're doing Easter egg hunt. Although you'll be slightly early because we are doing the Easter egg hunt on Monday. So, yeah, you have to make sure you do end up, I guess, delaying your flight, reschedule it possibly. So if I buy chicken and chips on day 1, I'm not allowed to buy them day 2 or day 3. So I guess the best thing is you'll get to try out a whole heap of food that you may not have tried before at the ground. And Orange Beard, there must be some Scottish descent, or must have some Scottish descent. So here's Danny Lewis, and also we've got the thumbs up from Paddy for that one as well. Over the Waratahs, scoring another try in this game. And also, Paddy, you know where Hamish lives? Not that I know of. If he does, he's done some extensive research. But it was nicely scored by Dave Parecki. It's actually their first try since the 14th minute in there as well. There we go. And also we got that. I said it to George and he said, I'll scrap him. There as well. That's gone beautifully over for Tane Edmund. And I was over there, wow, that makes me concerned. Currently, they're very happy with that one. Dave Parecki being able to score the try. Harry Johnson-Holmes, he is fired up at the moment. That is for sure. Now, taken very nicely by Jed Holloway. Sitting outside of the 22 here. And it is Jake Gordon. Okay, we have got the out. Okay, let's go, George. In there as well. And also, as next on, Cup game worth watching. So, Harlequins versus Montpellier, I would recommend it. And also, we have got there, Petty Way, and you are a Kiwi Lads man to the hilt. Hi, Hamish. And there, as I says, David Lamar, welcome in. Okay, George wants me to tell you, Patty, that he's experimenting with crack cocaine now. That is literally what he said. He said, tell him that. And I was like, yeah, I've got that. I know the town, but won't say unless Hamish wants me to, says Danny Lowe. So I think a lot of people do know it by now. Possibly. South Canterbury, I always go with. Just the region is easier in it. Because no one knows where we are. Like, if I say the place, everyone's like, where's that? And I'm like, South Canterbury. And they're like, I kind of know where that is. So I just go South Canterbury so that people have half an idea. That's going to be Charlie Gamble now. Stealing that ball back for the Waratahs. And also, nice. This is Petty. That's nicely done by the Western Force. They win themselves the penalty there, but the next game, bit of push and shove. And there, he's not too happy, the Western Force. And Bo Abra, he's working hard for his side there. Good double man tackle for Pasatoa. And also, it was alongside him. Who was the other one? And also, we've got there, who's on crack? Just George. No, not George, literally. He's probably eating M&Ms at the moment. And also, we've got there, what's your prediction for that game, Hamish Montpellier versus Quins? For me, I'd love to see the Harlequins win it, but it's going to be that they have to win it by about 14 points. So I definitely recommend, Shane, if your eyes are up for it, watch the first half, see how it's sitting, and then possibly, if it looks like it's going to be going Montpellier's way by a lot, then that's probably when you can crash and have a snooze. But for me, I'm going to be watching that game very closely, see who is making it through, because whoever wins that game, I believe, has to go on to face either Ulster or Toulouse. And 6 foot and like 95 kgs. And there's us, there's Betty Wagham now. Nice drive forward once again here. And the Western Force trying to find their way through a gap again. It's going to be nicely passed back. Richard Kahui, only 5 meters out now. Brilliant run forward from him. Now off the side, big Santiago Mirano. And Force will score the try, says Kishan. And at the moment, they're getting close. They've also got the advantage here for themselves. Pryor firing it back into the hands of the number 5, Macaulay. Yeah, we'll do what channel is it on, says Shane. I'll just quickly get that up for you, mate, so that I do know exactly who's going to be playing. It's close. It's a knock-on on the line, but they're going back for the initial penalty. Okay, so it is going to be on Sky Sports Select. So channel 50, I believe it is where you can find that game. And then Sky Sports Select is going to be host of all of the games apart from Munster Exeter, which is going to be on Sky Sport 4. So yeah, Sky Sports Select is the way to go. Those ones, but working hard currently, just dropping the ball around the side. Who was that? Was that Richard Carley? Yes, it was, with his big mustache. Just gets it slightly wrong. He kind of looks like Tim Southey when you look at him there, but kicking it for the corner now for the Western Force. Only 25 minutes left in this game now between the two sides. And the Western Force, if they want any chance of winning, they need to score right now. I was like, why do you do strange things when you are bored? I think it's just to try and find something to do, isn't it? Like the randomest stuff, some of the best inventions were made when someone was just out of their mind with boredom. Now rolling sideways very nicely around, and that's over. And it's going to be another try for the Western Force. And this time, Andrew Reddy does go in for the try. And they just haven't quite given up yet, the Western Force. I don't think they know they're supposed to be losing this game by a lot. And they just keep on going. This time, it is going to be a great try from Andrew Reddy, who has been able to go over and score the try. And currently now we have still got another 25 minutes left, like I mentioned, so plenty of time for the Western Force to fight back in this contest as long as they keep on scoring try after try. Richard Cahill, he looks like an old man in there as well, says David the Mod. Yeah, he's aging a little bit. David, question for you. Completely different subject, of course, but are you going to be up for the Sevens in the night, or are you probably going to be watching the Sevens tomorrow? So let me know, and everyone, in fact, in the chat, are you guys watching the live Sevens in Vancouver with it starting at 4 a.m., or are you guys going to watch it tomorrow, or maybe not watch it at all? Do let me know. As I Force will score another try. Says Kitchen, and what's the odds right now? Says Petty Wagon. At the moment, with that try going over, with the conversion, as long as he gets it here prior, I should mention, it is WARATAHS $1, Force sitting at $18 currently. And also Force will score another try, and also Solid Betty. And there it says Danny as well. Currently now striking it nicely down the middle. And very nicely done for that one. And I'm going to try and make it, says David the Mod. That's the thing. It's such a bad time zone for us in New Zealand. But luckily there's no Super Rugby tomorrow, which I think really helps. Because if we didn't have, well, if we had Super Rugby tomorrow, I would be buggered. And you're watching it was was exciting stuff. You got a lot of viewers. And as I said, Danny Lewis, yeah, everyone loves the Sevens. I don't know how it's going to go with it being in the middle of the night for everyone in the south of the pretty much all the kind of Southern Hemisphere islands areas, but see how we go. And also we have got a decent speed and strong. And there's his Betty, and also we've got there, depending on how tired I am, depends on whether I can be bothered to, says Amelia. That is a fair point there. Now Newsom just gets it back across into the hands of now. It is actually Will Harrison who has made his way out onto the park for the final 22 minutes. Another Force try. Here's Christian there as the prediction. It's a scrum feed now to the Western Force for their work in the rolling maul. This is heating up this game, ladies and gentlemen. I'll try join two. And there's I says Betty, but yeah, it's going to be a late night and a long day, I should mention. As well, I think I am up to about 7 or 8 p.m. tomorrow night, and then my eyes would just drift off. Then I'll wake up, and then I will be all good. When is the Sevens again? So the first game that we are covering of the Sevens will be at, I believe it's about 4:40 or 4:36 or somewhere around there, I think it is. 4:46, in fact, it might be, as our first game, just to give me some time after the Champions Cup to get all set up and ready to go. I know Katie and Seb will be on. There says David the Mod. But yeah, it starts at 4 a.m. for the Sevens and runs straight through to 2 a.m. No, sorry, 2 p.m. tomorrow. And anyone who hasn't already, be sure to leave a like on this live stream. We have almost hit double figures. That's a penalty in favour of the Waratahs. How says Betty here? It's going to be a rough one, although I will recommend if you do want to go to sleep early, very strategic, but it will mean that you'll be able to see New Zealand Samoa tomorrow morning in 11, or in fact 12 hours time. And Force will score, says Kishan. Yeah, it's certainly going to be a long process. But I'm excited. I'm excited. I love the Sevens, even if it's on in the middle of the night. Even if by the last one I'm kind of sitting here like this, still just watching it, I feel like I'm still going to be loving it, even though I may look like I'm half asleep, which I probably will be. But I think the hardest one, the Sevens aren't going to be too tricky. I don't think. It will be that filming session afterward, George, where we play FIFA. I'll be sitting there like this, trying to keep my eyes open, and I'm yawning right now, says Betty Wagon. Can be thrown into the back. Nicely done here for their Waratahs. Now Michael Hooper, he's holding on to it at the back, pops it up to Jake Gordon. Now across to Angus Bell. Still just available for the Waratahs. Only just now, Santiago Medrano, he gets straight on the ball. Oh, that was unlucky not to get the turnover for him there. I think the crowd felt that that could have been a turnover in favour of the away side. Or in fact, sorry, the home side, the Western Force now, Taina Edmed, and a brilliant run earlier on. It's been relatively well shut down. And also, I'm going to stay up, see Shane. Yeah, it's going to be a late one. And also, we have got the Yeri Star Famous. We'll need you at your optimum as George on the stream. He will. Oh, that was close. Going down for Pasatoa, but they're going back. I think it was just in touch. But for the ones, I think he's coming at 2, which is very unfortunate because he's got something in the morning right up until, I believe, 1:30 or so, which is actually the time roughly that the last game starts. I went to sleep after 4 last night, and that's our Shane. But hopefully, maybe for the Monday games, for the afternoon or kind of early afternoon games, we might be able to have him around, because I know that he's coming around to do some filming anyway for the Easter egg hunt thing that we are doing. Michael Earp, a great shot on him. He almost gets driven into touch. They've get the ball in the field of play, though, for the Waratahs. And now another good run from Nawakwanita Wasi. Hard to put him down. And come on for score, says Kishan. Now pass short ball to Jake Gordon. I'm looking around for Harry Johnson-Holmes. I feel like he is the one that I want to see score a try. It's a penalty for them. And also, what team do you support? This is going to be a yellow card here for the Western Force. And I believe Pasatoa goes to the bin. But in this game, I'm pretty impartial overall, which is why it's always very exciting. But who do you support, Hayden? Do let me know. And also, we have got there, Kane says, Paddy Wagon. And this one, but Pasatoa, he is going to be going off the field now for the next 10 minutes. And Angus Gardner, he saw the turnover for Pasatoa. Unfortunately, playing the ball on the ground, you're not allowed to do that. And he got himself into quite a bit of trouble by doing so. Another yawn. Currently, there are 19 minutes left in this game, and there are approximately 19 minutes till the Champions Cup game between the Harlequins and Montpellier gets underway. Benji Marshall has a show on Sky Sport on Mondays, says Shane, and also we've got the Hurricanes fan, says Hayden, so you will be very happy with that result that they were able to get up against the Highlanders. It was an incredibly close game, that is for sure. I was like, hey, my man. And it says Paddy Wagon. Yeah, you share the same side as Paddy. It's gone down the front rows. Once again, we are going to have another scrum reset. This will be working in the Force's favour just a little bit, as they have got a man disadvantage. Oh, Pryor's bleeding quite drastically. He has just realised. Just got the cut on his eye, and I think they are going to be trying to just patch him up very quickly. No, he's just having a chat. Got a Highlanders fan as well, says Shane. And also 12 points difference. Still time, 90 minutes to catch up in spite of the yellow card. Yeah, it's going to be tricky, but the Western Force seem to just have that extra little bit of drive in them at the moment, although the question is, can they still drive with the way that they are set up with 14 men? Jay Gordon puts the ball in. It's a great push from the Waratahs. It's another advantage. Now passing across. Taini Ahmed goes wide, and Alex Newsom scores the try. And also we have got there Hamish go for a quick Macca's run. That will keep you awake. And there says Danny, I think we've got some chocolate somewhere in the house, so I feel like that will be a good tactic of keeping myself awake in the later stages of the live streams. But for now, that's the thing. I yawn every once in a while, but I don't actually feel tired at the moment. I think it's just kind of a reflex. But yeah, I've been feeling pretty fresh, I guess you could say, even though I have been yawning quite a bit. But it should be all right. Should be all right for an all-nighter. We do plenty of them on the channel. I was like, yes, Western Force has the will, or has the win, says MH Joy, but that one has gone over for the Waratahs to once again score it, and now that extends their lead by just a little bit more here for them, with Newsom scoring it in the 63rd. He has got his first try of the night, second of 2022. And also I have 3 Easter eggs by my bed. And then says Paddy Wagon, well, be sure not to put them in your bed, or else then they will probably be just liquid chocolate at this point in time. I don't know what Easter egg. I don't think I've got one. I think we've got the miniature ones because we are going to be using them for the Easter egg hunt. But other than that, I don't think there's actually a big Easter egg around. And also HSBC 7 start in 5 hours time. So make sure they certainly do. And we are going to be covering those games on the channel as many as we can. I believe we've got about 12 to 14 games that we are going to be covering in this first time. And I might put them in the fridge. And then so the Highlanders have to win all games in Australia to make the playoffs. Pretty much they do need plenty of points. If they won that game up against the Hurricanes, it would have been a lot easier. But now they do just have to keep on pushing through and hope that a few of the other Australian sides lose their games along the way. Such as probably Western Force, the Waratahs. Those are 2 sides that are currently right up there, causing them a bit of a problem for the Highlanders. Jake McIntyre off the field, or on the field, sorry, for a different Jake, just Jake Strawn. Going to be a good counter ruck there from the Waratahs, firing the ball back across here. Edmund now goes into the hands of, I believe that was Parisi. We haven't really seen too much of him. And yes, MH12, good games to cover in there, says MH. It certainly is. Oh, that's a big shot on Manasa Mataele by Nawakwanita Wasi. And he has really muscled up with him there. And the Reds, says Shane for that one. Yeah, I think the Reds and the Brumbies are the 2 Australian sides for me that are through already. And it's just more of the case of the Force and the Waratahs. And then also alongside that, maybe even the Rebels trying to sneak themselves up there just a little bit further with the fact that they're starting to find some decent form. 15 minutes left in this game now. Good attack and run from Ollie Cale, and that's going to be stolen there. Very nicely done by the Waratahs, number 16. And it is back on their side now, and they are going to be looking to try and get phase after phase here. Will Harris, very quiet game for him. Edmund now goes on the outside. Nice step from Will Harrison, almost going straight through. Finds the offload up to Godwin. Great hands from Jed Alloway. And now ball on the outside. This will be another. And it's going to be Alex Newsom, who gets himself his second try in 3 minutes. And now the Waratahs once again extend their lead by just a little bit more. And you'd have to say now for the Western Force, this game is over. And I was average, what about the chocolate fountain for Easter? I feel like chocolate fountains are dangerous, aren't they? Because if you stick a chocolate fountain near George, all of a sudden it's just going to be a fountain. There'll be no chocolate coming out of it. And auspicious weekend Easter, Tamil New Year, also Songkran, Sikh New Year and Muslim fasting Ramadan. And our game over now, says Shane. Yeah, it does seem like this win will be going the way of the Waratahs, and it's a pretty comfortable one at the moment. They are currently leading this game by 22 points. They will be looking to extend that by just a little bit more than that. But now Alex Newsom will be happy with that. He's getting closer and closer to getting himself the hat trick. Actually, the only player in this game to get 2 tries so far. And now going to be another opportunity for a conversion attempt. Now, with the Western Force getting 3 tries, it meant that the Waratahs, to be able to get themselves a bonus point, would need 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So they have got themselves a bonus point currently. As it is sitting, decent strike from me, but that ball just kind of drifted away to the side late from there. And also Tars just sealed the victory. And this is MH Joy. And like they're saying, Dylan Peach, he got replaced. And then Newsom moved out to his wing. Got 2 easy tries. I look very red at the moment. The further back I go, whoa. Oh, it's on that side. Yeah, the further back I go, the more red I look. I look like I'm very sunburnt. But if I go forward, then it just changes completely. Interesting technology, eh? God, I love it. And also, bonus things out of reach for the Western Force, says MH Joy, yeah. At this stage, it's more of the case of how much will the Waratahs win by rather than how much will the Western Force be able to keep it within. Now, Jack Grant putting up the box kick, almost charged down. In fact, it might have gotten a little bit of a finger there. Now, Wakwanita Wasi knocks the ball on. Going to be available now for Ollie Kalin. And at the moment, it is going to be Warren Vasiako, who is on the field for Charlie Gamble. Jack Grant also out there for Jake Gordon, another advantage here for the Western Force. And if he's consistent, you'd have to wonder whether or not there is a yellow card coming very soon for the Waratahs. Yes, they've had less penalties against them, but they've had a lot more advantages against them. Now, Vailanu going across. Nice little link up there with Bo Abra in the midfield. Now, once again, it is the pop pass up to Kyle Godwin. He's been working tirelessly, for a side throughout this match. Now, Ralston still keeping just inside of the Waratahs half with this backline movement. Now, nice ball off to Fergus Lee Warner. When he pins his ears back, he certainly got pace. Wasn't able to score in the earlier stages of the match, but he got extremely close. Now, across to Greg Holmes. Very experienced player. Actually became the oldest Wallaby player since World War II, I believe it was, to play for the Wallabies in his recent rugby championship. Now, Pryor goes back across. Nice pass from Jake McIntyre. Jamie Roberts also on the field for the Waratahs. That is for Isaiah Perezi. And that's one of the teams for next game. 80 New Zealand players. And there it says Shane. So I think I've got them somewhere. One moment. I'll have a look at the Munster men. Go like this. Go like that. Like that. Hopefully it does let me put all of them in. It doesn't say I've got too many. Okay, it said I got too many. One moment. I got to delete a couple of me past ones. But you'll know a couple of the players. Damien Dialende, you will know for the South African side of things. Also, Peter Omani is there for Munster and their matchup. Although if you're talking Harlequins have got the likes of Marcus Smith, Joe Marchant, and kind of all of those guys, if that is the one that you are thinking of. Okay, couple offside. The referee is now giving them their last warning, saying, mate, you've been offside all day. Let's try and get them back on, eh? But yeah, I've got Munster's ones. I don't actually have the Harlequin starting lineup. So, all right, and also I'm trying to get 7 or get sleep every break until the 7s. And there's this Petty Wagon. And also, it's a shame this game is a blowout. So here's Danny Lewis, and yeah, as much as the Western Force want to keep on fighting, it just seems like it keeps on running away from them. Yeah, game on soon. Says Shane. So probably not a huge amount of Kiwis in there, but definitely if you follow yourself some premiership, like you got the Harlequins in there. Montpellier, couple more players that you probably haven't heard of in a little while, but then also you might see a couple familiar faces. And then also 3 tries in 15 minutes looks like 3 tries in the first, or just like 3 tries in the first 14 minutes. Stars deserve to win. Here's MH Joy. And yeah, it's pretty much, it's not how you start. I guess in this case, it's how you start and finish compared to what happens in between. It's like having a bread sandwich, literally with just bread. 2 bits of bread. The middle was pretty anticlimactic for them, but now Jack Grant goes through, but they've got the advantage, so they're going to be going back. Double blow of the whistle here. And the Waratahs, they get a man in the bin now. Number 16, I believe they did say. Vailanu is going to have to spend the next 10 minutes and the rest of this game off the field. Currently 30 seconds left of the forced yellow card. But Mahi Vailanu ended up getting that one wrong, ended up getting penalised. And that is the first card. Okay, they've said that he wasn't back on side for that one. And also, we're going to Hamish history lesson. And there as well says Danny, all about sandwiches, eh? Gotta love it. Now 5 meters out from the line. Still Andrew Reddy, so they've actually stuck with him the whole way through. I know that it was going to be originally for Leti Kai2, so possibly a very late change for them. I think Jed Holloway's gone straight through the middle there and stolen that ball for the Waratahs, which is massively done by the big man at number 4. Scrum feed for the Waratahs now. Currently, we are sitting 72 minutes through this game, ladies and gentlemen. There is a game that is starting in just a short moment. Harlequins taking on Montpellier. We will not be covering that game on the channel, as I thought that it was going to actually be overlapping with this game a little bit more, but also we will be back for Munster versus Exeter at 2 a.m. If my voice is still going, that is. If not, then we will just have the Sevens with about the 10 to 15. Those of the Black Caps be playing any warm-up matches before playing England. Not that I know of, but I'd like to think they'd give them a couple just to get used to English conditions again. But yeah, not too sure. All right, they have. I hope they do play one of the county sides or something, or an England A side. Okay, a couple new players on. Wait for the call. Stay square. Stay up is what Angus Gardner just informed the players of. Brad Lacey off the field, or on the field, sorry, and that's for Ralston and Michael Hooper. His night is done. He had a very good shift. Scored himself the early try in this match, the second try of this game for the Waratahs. In fact, sorry, the third try. It feels like the second just because of how quick it was. It was in the 14th minute. Okay, the props who were on the field before did a great job. Angus Gardner has warned the 2 front rows that if they can't sort it out, he's probably going to get those other guys back out there. Michael Hooper, 1 try, 2 line breaks, 21 tackles made, 1 broken tackle, and 2 gain line carries. And also we have players in the IPL. We certainly do. Like so Tim Southey, Trent Bolt is also over there at the moment. Devon Conway, another big player, Kane Williamson. So it's whether or not those guys will actually be back for them, which I don't believe they will be. But now Jack Grant offloads it back. That's a rough pass from the Waratahs, waiting for the ball to pop up almost. Kyle Goldwyn getting on it. That's got to be a knock on. Yeah. 5 meters out from the line. The Western Force now will get themselves a good scrum feed opportunity to try and get 1 try on the board at the end of this matchup. There's a miscommunication. Faghetti was running onto it. Then from there, Will Harrison had the knock on. Nice. Another big yawn. I have to keep on leaning forward though, or else then that thingy ends up going weird. Apparently, Will Harrison. I think you'll be relatively happy with the performance from the Waratahs in this game, almost bringing up the 50 points before heading into their next game, and that is going to be up against the Chiefs. So that will be an interesting game. Western Force, they've got a slightly easier opponent, you'd have to argue, in Moana Pacifica, but have still got some very good players in that lineup. The good news for Moana Pacifica this time, though, is they get a full week to recover, but then also when you're on a plane and everything, trying to get acquainted with new conditions, it's always going to be tricky. It's another advantage here for the Western Force. Currently only 6 minutes left in this one now. Ollie Kalen dragged down another advantage. Someone else is almost going to have to go to the bin here for the Waratahs. Great run forward. Now just waiting for it out the back. Fergus Lee Warner finds the flick on to Prime Manasa Mateli. Does drop it and it's going back for the initial penalty. Double blow of the whistle. See you later. Someone else is going to the bin now. I'm going to explain this. This is a comment from Angus Gardner, I should say. And also, we have got the, how are you going to keep yourself awake with so much sport on tonight's SJNAs? I think I'll just use it as like my momentum. Really, that's going to be another yellow card, and this time it is Lalakai Faketi who is going to be off the field. He wasn't too sure whether or not it was him. And did end up getting the penalty. I guess, yeah, pretty much when you've got sevens like quick fire back to back to back to back, it always like there's always something happening. Whereas Munster versus Exeter from here is probably going to be the toughest live stream that I've got of the night. Like the one that takes place at like 12 tomorrow, like in 12 and a half hours, I'll be fine for. Just because I would have already been getting in the kind of, I guess you could say, get in the rhythm. Once you're in the rhythm, it just carries you throughout the night. It's like when we did about 6 internationals on one of those other nights. You just get going and you just keep going. And you make your way right through the whole night. Currently now, Kyle Godwin is at his 100th game. Definitely not going the way that he'd like it to. And drink some sugar. And as I said, Danny, I guess that's the other idea. Just fueling myself with a whole heap of energy, such as sugar. And also, yellow card again. Gosh. And this is how much sure. Yep. Second yellow card in a row here. Currently waiting for that ball at the back. It's going to be Pryor. Short side off to Kahui. No, it's Pasatoa, who once again gets in and scores another try for the Western Force. So a nice try right at the end of the game. But they've still got maybe time try and work their way towards a bonus point. Definitely with the fact that they're up against 13 men. Imagine the scenes if there's a late comeback here. Like, I know it's still a long way away, don't get me wrong, but they need about 2 or 3 tries in this last little while. And also, yeah, you were crashed to sleep quick, though. And there it says Danny Lewis. So, yeah, I think it's going to be knowing that George is coming around at 2 tomorrow. Like, as soon as I get to, like, the last couple of hours of those live streams, I'll know that, like, I've powered through it. Now, Rejan Pasatoa. We'll be happy with that one. 2 tries tonight, 2 tries in 2022, 2 tries in his career. All the 2s by that man. But now Ian Pryor will be lining up this kick. 2 from 3 tonight. And he will be 2 from 4 tonight now. Currently, the difference between these two sides, 17 points. And I'll say any other games you're going to stream today, says Jack. So we have got the sevens. We're going to be doing about 10 to 15 of those sevens live streams. Alongside that, I'm hoping to do Munster versus Exeter Chiefs, which is going to be starting at 2 a.m. So that is going to be our next big game that we have decided that we are going to be covering on the channel. And hopefully it does all run smoothly and the voice does last for it. But Bo Abra waits for that ball to sit up. Doesn't quite sit nicely for him, though. Now going back across. Once again, Jack Grant off to Edmund. Now finding the offload. Beautifully run by Noah Kwanetawasi. Doesn't get through, though. Once again, available at the back. Follow me, a good run forward from Jeff Cridge. Penalty to the Waratahs. And guys, at the back is the call. And also, Munster versus Exeter should be awesome. It certainly will be. And with it being so close, it's going to be a tricky one for both of the sides. It's going to be a battle of 80 minutes. Like, as soon as you get into that second half, it will start to become more and more real that one of these sides is going home in the round of 16 and one of them will be winning and going on to face either Toulouse or Ulster, which is not going to be an easy game. But those two sides play later on tonight as well. So I'm going to have the Champions Cup in one corner. I'm going to have the Sevens in the other. And then we are going to be doing the commentary all the way through the night till tomorrow, till like 2. And then after that, we have got a George on his way. So that should be fun. Currently now, Dave Parecki still actually out on the field for them currently. But, of course, the other number 2, he's sitting on a chair on the sideline due to his yellow card. Now driving nicely. Another advantage here for the Waratahs. Now Edmund passes it back. It's a good shot on him by, I think it was Richard Kahui. Now it's another advantage. They're going back for the penalty once again for the Waratahs. Now they are still chasing that bonus point. Every time the Western Force score, the Waratahs need to score one more time to keep that bonus point in their favour. I believe Edmund will know that, which is why he will be kicking this one for the touchline once again, but only a minute and a half left. And there, it's going to be 5 meters out, another opportunity. And also we have got there, he might bring some crack for you in there, says Paddy. And also, can the Warriors beat the Roosters tomorrow? It's going to be a tough game. Roosters are not an easy side. But, you know, I think, was it you, Paddy, who said that the Warriors are winning this game for a winning streak? So we'll trust Paddy. Well, that one and see how it goes on them. But an hour and 19 minutes have gone in this matchup. But now only another 70 seconds to go. Passing it off nicely. Big run forward from Jack Grant. Dragged down now 5 meters out from the line. Another good attack and run from Dave Parecki. Really just making sure they recycle this ball quickly and efficiently. Now going to be wrestled down. It was Holtz. Now Grant, as they call him, or Grant as I call him, going back across. Grant once again goes off to Will Harris, who wasn't out. He's allowed to go again. He's dropped the ball. Bo Abra has got it now. Quick hands. Manasa Mataeli. Ball on the outside to Jake McIntyre. And they might have one last attack in their arsenal here. 4 from 4. I'm calling it from a week ago. And they are now looking for the offload. Manasa Mataeli unable to find one. Well, that one currently only 14 seconds left in this matchup. Kyle Godwin, flat ball. It's a knock on. No, they've said it's gone backwards. Pasatoa now does take that one. And for the Western Force, I feel like strategically, yes, they'd love to be able to get themselves a few more points on the board, but you probably just kick this ball out when you're at the 80 minutes, I would have thought. And yes, it's going to hurt them to do so, but at least in doing that, oh, that's a deliberate knockdown. I think Noah Kwanita-Wasi, he will be going to the bin as well now. Just a knock on. I don't know whether or not it was. And Warriors will win by 6. This is Shane. Just a knock on, which does mean it's full time now between these two sides. 41 points to the Waratahs and 24 to the Western Force. And Noah Kwanita-Wasi asking the question, he wanted to score that final try of the match, but is unable to do so. But now Montpellier versus Harlequins is about to kick off, ladies and gentlemen. Should be a very exciting game. And I am going to be watching that outside of a live stream, but we should be back for Munster versus Exeter. If you don't see that live stream go up, though, don't panic. I haven't gone to sleep. It is just maybe the voice isn't feeling as good as it should be with another live stream or 10 coming up for the 7th. But hopefully we are back for that one, and that will be starting at about 2 a.m. But nonetheless, thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you all for